All right, boys, we're live. So, today we're just going to be playing some Black Ops 1 Zombies. I think we'll go for some Derice. But, anyway, guys. Kind of want to talk about my recent video I just posted. It has 50 something views on it. It is a firearm related video. It's just a basic overlook of my gun collection, all 11 guns. And just sort of, talking about firearms and whatnot. But no, I recently showcased all my firearms on the channel. So go ahead and if you're into guns, check that out. If not, that's cool. Anyway, regardless, also just going to be starting this off with some Derice. The only way to get better at zombies is by playing more of it. I gotta somewhat just sort of monitor my computer. If you don't know how to stream on PS3, you do need a laptop at least. You don't need to download any so unless you're like making videos, you don't really need like a recording software or anything like that. Um, just YouTube can work. And I think you could just use like some pretty basic stuff. I will say this though, software is probably the better way to go about it. Because this is not how I will go out. I'll wait for a round change and then we're going to rebuild the barrier a little more. That silhouette's funny. I don't know why. Alright. Let me get some cash. Sorry, I had to take that. Alright, cool. Guys, remember the way things used to be, man? Like, remember like laser collection and shit, guys? Does anyone else remember laser collection? Damn it. Alright, look, we're gonna have to. I could grab speed cola. I think we'll grab speed cola. We might get dogs. I guess better than a pistol. Is it practical? Not necessarily. Does it do a lot of damage though? And is it accurate? Well, you can argue that. Are we keeping it? Hell no. I think actually it's a little more interesting just to sort of just kick it back a little bit. Go all the way back over here. Okay, these assholes to break through. We're grabbing Jug for survival purposes. Telekinesis.
Ooh, the doctor likes his medicine.
No! Monkeys don't work on the dogs.
There's no shame in your defeat. I turned off this nest. Now leave it to me. You are too generous, my lord.
No, dingbat. I swear to God, I don't actually intend on throwing those. You need to be a here. All of the windows have been repaired. Extraordinary. Dog, exactly what I want. Yeah, dude, this is fucking based.
Beautiful girl. Face your destiny. Leave this place. I see this right. You will die.
No, 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 no! Don't do that, dingbat.
We must now activate the central matrix. Oh, this is so confusing.
Max ammo, please. If I remember correctly, we get right here and we shoot that. I don't know.
This is not how I will go out. Tragic fate.
I could have probably thrown a monkey. The goal was to actually pack a bunch of the AUG and get that underbarrel shotgun, grab mule kick, buy a. It makes it like 7 times more useful. And I mean, you get more ammo. And then high round, it's going to be using a lot of traps, repurchasing ammo, weakening zombies, and even then, high rounds are kind of limited on this. It's a shame we couldn't get a real setup going, though. Oh well.
I've always liked the monsters. I like the zombies being us. It's like zombies are the blue collar monsters. Completely surrounded. We're completely fucked.
Hold on. Okay. I have something to watch later. My buddy just sent me one of them like Easter egg guides for um, Shino, not Shino Numa, Shangri-La, and we're gonna try the Easter egg on Black Ops 3, not on stream, just try and see if we can do it in the first place, and then if we can do it, we're gonna attempt to potentially stream it after we've kind of done it maybe once or twice, just to sort of kind of get the hang of it. Um, I remember part of the steps, but I've never honestly been able to do Shangri-La because it's so hard. And so my buddy's like, "Oh, just refresh your memory. I want to try doing this Easter egg."
It's freezing.
Is it just George this round? Or, okay, there's real zombies.
Can't stay. I'll freeze to death.
Missed a round. Every round counts because if you do the 4 rounds per zombie, 1, 2, 3, 4, you get the maximum amount of points. And so the thing is, the next round you won't have a lot of ammo left. Some people do this on round 2, but they knife all the zombies on round 1. George really isn't that fast either. Not as much as I remember him being.
I'm a crack shot, zombies. Hear me?
All the way down over there. So like the boat, the massive like crashed boat here, the one continuous boat, pretty fucking dope. Like so, it's literally a boat, a beach, I think a cave, a lighthouse, and the area around the lighthouse, and that's the whole map. So, in my opinion, on a scale of 1 to 10, how fun is this map? How cool is this map? Well, fun factor is extremely high. The zip lines and the I think they call it the flogger, I think, or they call it something. It launches you. It's on the second floor of this little boat here, or this pretty massive boat actually. So you basically go on the second floor to power, and then ascend, or the third floor, or whatever. And basically, at that point, it launches you all the way over there towards the lighthouse. And so you want to get to the top of the lighthouse because, well, you want to be able to zip line over to the boat. It just sort of. So the reason I think that the game gives you all these like fast travel options is you got to understand. Back in the day, this was a pretty big fucking map. Treyarch knew this. Knew that the community would probably not like the size without there being ease of navigation. Like, for instance, if you think Doris was a pretty massive map, I'd say it's in size comparison, probably like a Verruct and a half in size, roughly. And maybe if you add 1/4 of Noct, then yeah, that's basically the approximate size in comparison. So in relativity, they had mainly it wasn't because it was a big map, but it was literally because the map had so many dead ends. They turned those dead ends into teleporters for fast travel purposes. And granted, they took you to the starting room, but the starting room is kind of like Shino Numa in design because there are like different central hub areas. So, for instance, you can go right, left, or in the mid, or go down the middle, but the middle is blocked. So if you can kind of think about it like Shino Numa, but without 4 areas in a hub, it's 3 areas in the hub being the central spawn area. So, so if you think about it like that a little bit, it makes it a little easier to understand, I guess, sort of how they thought about making that. This map, in comparison, has this massive boat, and it's expensive to go all the way through the boat. But once you do, like you got access to the lighthouse, once you get access to up there, and you can zip line over here. You can zip line from here over there. Like there, some of the zip lines I will say don't really take you very far, so they can kind of feel a little bit irrelevant. But even then, this area has 2 launchers. That takes you to over there. This one launches you to that area over there on the White House or the lighthouse. So it's not too bad. There are a couple ways of escape, and part of ways of escape is part of the huge theme with this area. There is multiple different ways of escape. You just have to choose which one works best for you, and which area you'd prefer to go to. We're probably also going to die. George is probably like right underneath us too. So the zip line takes you all the way to the starting area. Ah!
So, did we win?
But yeah, like I said, over there you got kind of sort of just got George. And he's going to take his sweet ass time making it through there. If so long as he's walking, whatever, then yeah, it's no big deal. If he's running, yeah, his time to get to you is a lot. So it doesn't take nearly as long for him to get you if he's running. So I guess my point with that is, you kind of just sort of never really want to shoot George. You kind of just only want to shoot the zombies you absolutely have to. And you know what I think would have been really interesting for this map? Hear me out, guys. Imagine if it was like thundering. And yeah, you got the snow, it just added a little bit of rain. But imagine if it was thundering in the background and then you got like the lightning strikes coming through a little bit to provide like a little bit of lighting. I think that would have been really cool. I mean, you kind of got that. It's not exactly lightning though. But all that put together, I think would have been a really unique effect. It's a funny thing he says, "I'm your worst nightmare." It's a reference to Nightmare on Elm Street because for $1,500, Deadshot Daiquiri is not bad. So you can go through over here. I'm not sure quite exactly. Oh yeah. And the stakeout shotgun. Imagine that the Spaz 12 is a wall weapon over here. The weapon placement choices are a bit strange.
Freezing.
I'm only really saying that in reference towards like Kino. And people might be wondering what I mean by that. Think about how many doors you open to get some of these weapons in Kino, and then ask yourself, well, I think that's part of the Easter egg right there.
This is freezing. Did I just do that?
Oh, fuck. George finally got lucky and found a way in. You can clear the debris here now. That must be over here. Round 7. Like I don't think you guys even realize just quite how massive this map really is. You guys gotta understand this map's a very expensive map. And I don't mean like in terms of like the cost. I mean like to open up the whole map, it costs a lot of money. Honestly, I think when I review maps, I think that's going to be part of my reviewing process is how expensive is the entire map to open up all the doors. Then, and then, just talking about how useful the weapons really are. They had that really weird gun that you'd get right after you. I forget what it was called. Um, it's a really shitty SMG. You get it really early in Kino though, and the PM63, I believe. Yeah, like that gun is located in like the shittiest spot. In fact, I'd even argue that they were better off just putting that in the starting room as an expensive starting weapon. Honestly, just saying, man, that starting room really sucked. And I was also going to say they should have in this DLC they could have added a completely new wall weapon. Also, no monkeys. So I'm not entirely certain what they were exactly thinking when they made that map, Call of the Dead. I will say this though, maybe with the addition of maybe one more like little area, yeah, it would have made the map even bigger. But adding two more fast travel areas, like another one of those launch things and two more zip lines, and maybe even like a gondola thing. Maybe this map, maybe Call of the Dead would have been much more cooler, much more badass. Maybe even adding like a weird elevator mechanism to skip all the way to the top or to the bottom of the lighthouse. Maybe, but we didn't get that. I think it's important to realize what we did get and go off of that. What you want to do is you want to buy this door, and that essentially does it for the submachine gun I'm referring to. The PM63, like I think that's what it is. I could be wrong though. It's not a real submachine gun that I really care about. So yeah, so what we want to do is go over here, purchase this, and it's right here. The PM63. Again, why is it located all the way beyond the power in Call of the Dead? I'm not entirely sure because the SMG completely sucks. I mean, not that it's like a completely ass submachine gun, but I'm gonna buy it and just sort of talk about it here, just to make a point here. Anyway, the other thing is, I mean, Black Ops 4 Zombies doesn't have the same magic that Black Ops 1 or Black Ops 2 or even World at War for that matter. Black Ops 3 tried to recapture some of that old magic from by Zombies Chronicles. I will say if Call of the Dead ever got like a Chronicles remaster, I probably would have been more happy. But instead they basically reinvented the entire map and called it Tag der Toten or Day of the Damned or Day of the Dead. Which I wasn't too pleased about that. It was nice to see an old map come back. And obviously, Call of the Dead looked really different during the daytime. In fact, it was really exquisite and beautiful. It was an excellent map, but I wasn't too excited about it being the finale map. Especially considering the kind of value I think you get with the Black Ops 1 version. Nothing can recapture the nostalgia of playing that map as a kid. And it sucks to say this, but I know a lot of people do not have the same experience that I have. So as you guys can see, this SMG shreds on round 2, and that's the cool thing about this submachine gun. You can get this gun at round 2 on Kino. So I'm going to tell you, this gun's not bad by any means in early rounds. I mean, you guys can see it shreds ass. Like, this is a nice submachine gun. It only holds 20 rounds in the capacity, though. In Call of the Dead, by the time you're going to get this thing, it's already going to be like round 5 or 6. Now, there's no zombie dogs like there is in Kino, but then again, if you had to open up all of Kino to get this submachine gun, by the time you get it, it would be completely irrelevant. It's part of the way that zombie maps are balanced. It's a subtle thing I don't think many people understand. I think some people in the zombies community kind of get it or get it completely and just don't really talk about it too much when it comes to these older Call of Duties. But that's because these older Call of Duties were making decisions that at the time didn't really make sense. Whereas the newer Call of Duties are really balanced and the weapon placement mostly feels the same because the progression kind of sort of just feels the same. For instance, in Black Ops 3, um, your starting weapons are always going to be in the starting room. Your what do you call it? The next weapons you can acquire are like the Pharaoh and that shotgun, and it just doesn't feel as like unique or special. But no, my old fun fact, my first like real like loadout back in the day, it was this. It was the stakeout and the PM63 because the PM63 I could get it in an early round and just hold out over here, build up enough points. And then I'd run down there and run down here and purchase the shotgun, the stakeout. And this would be a decent loadout, actually, not gonna lie. Because it would get you to Speed Cola Room, which is only 2 rooms away from, well, 2 doors away from power. So, and it can get you here at relatively round 3 or 4, and depending on how much money you make, it could be more, it could be less. You don't know. Of course, this being an OG loadout setup, and I don't talk about it much, but this was low key my first like loadout until I realized this gun really wasn't as good as it I thought it was. Realizing that 20 rounds back in the day, you don't really think about it too much, but pretty early on, I'm gonna not lie to you guys, I figured out 20 rounds is just not enough. I would try to opt for the MP40 because it literally costs the exact same. But could you imagine if this submachine gun cost a little less? Could you imagine if, in fact, this submachine gun cost 700 points or 800 points? It would be slightly cheaper, which would explain why it's less good, but it would be slightly cheaper, which could have, it's just points could have went towards buying ammo for another wall weapon, could have went to buying another weapon entirely, could have went to buying a door. Either way, I think that making this thing cost 1,000 points is just kind of an overstretch. But then again, so does the MP5K also cost 1,000 points. But how many doors do you have to open to get it? You have to open 3 doors essentially. One that costs 750, one that costs 1,000, one that costs 12,050. Or yeah, no, not 12,050, 1,250. So all in all, you're spending approximately, let's see, 3 grand, and then paying an additional 1,000. So you got to spend 4 grand to get the MP5K, essentially, after everything is all said and done. And that's if you haven't bought any other weapons, either a starting weapon in the starting room, which is only 500 points, or alternatively, what I did, then bought the PM63 for 1,000 points. So if you think about it, if you didn't buy the PM63, that 1,000 points would have went towards that door because that door is only 1,000. If you really like mathematically think about it, the flow can make sense, and at times you can argue it doesn't. But no, back in the day, I did buy this thing pretty early on. But again, I figured out pretty early on, after a while, that this gun's really not that good. But then again, I'm remembering how I used to play. Now, depending on the game, depending on where the box is, that makes a huge difference with my loadout. So sometimes I would avoid buying this. Here's the thing: if I open up the door to this and the box was in the same room, I'd rather hit the box. Only being 50 points cheaper, not really being a whole lot, I would hit the box in hopes to get something really good because you can open that door at round one. Like literally round one. So round two, you can hit the box twice and get two guns that are relatively solid at like no extreme expense.
Stay right. Get some more rounds. Hey, Blair! Any more ammo or we're going down? Great, now what? It's slaughter time. Hey, Dempsey, your worst nightmare. Reach for me, Jenny girl. Kaboom!
This gun, the M16, 1,200 points. Literally only 200 points difference between an MP5K. However, I'm not going to lie to you guys. Early on, figuring out it was only 3 round burst, I was highly disappointed in it. I'm so dead. No, but in my opinion, though, the PM63 for spending 700 points, I mean, if it were only an 800 point gun, you could make the literal argument it's 150 points cheaper than Mystery Box. And so you'd rather just guaranteed to get a automatic weapon and say it held 25 rounds instead of just 20 rounds. I mean, not that that actually makes a difference. 5 rounds, it's going to be gone in 3 seconds or 2 seconds. But still, I mean, even then, I think that would have made it a better weapon. Just my opinion. Um, but then again, I mean, it is what it is, and I think that's part of the interesting thing with the older zombies maps here. The age-old debate me and my cousin would have: Olympia or M14. The true answer to that question is not subjective, but is very clear: the M14. The Olympia being very powerful and stays powerful for multiple rounds, even up until um, even up until rounds such as, God, I want to say like round 7. It's still, I mean, I don't know. We can fuck it, guys. We'll play with the Olympia. I mean, this shotgun, it's not bad by any means. It's just not great. I mean, if it had a slightly faster reload speed and ADS and didn't restrict your movement as much, like see how the handgun you run really fast. Now when you switch to this, you don't run as fast. If it made you slightly faster, I think this would have been a very interesting pick. But at the same time, the 2 round capacity You have to kind of just sort of pick your shots right. For instance, though, in comparison to the OG double barrel, the double barrel was like 1,250 points, I believe, or 1,200 points. So compared to that, to 500 points, I'm going to have to go with the Olympia on this for being cheaper and basically being a slightly watered down version of that other gun, but for half the cost. Actually, a little less than half. So round two, I got the door open, but yeah, the PM63. Again, if it was just only 800 points, again, you could probably make the argument it's 150 points less than box, and you could use those points towards buying that other door to get buying this door over here. But again, though, this is old zombies, and all submachine guns are 1,000 and higher. But no, I think since we got a viewer on the stream, I think I would like to ask the viewer. You don't have to answer if you don't want to, but what do you think, man? Do you think they should add a Black Ops 1 remaster, like an actual like remaster, like MWR? I think that would be fucking sweet myself, but just because multiplayer this time period was fucking sweet, early 2000s. I mean, if they were able to do Modern Warfare 1 and Modern Warfare 2, even though Modern Warfare 2 was just campaign remastered, I mean, could you imagine what the Black Ops community would do if they had like access to zombies and multiplayer? Like, remember the wager matches, dude? They were so hectic, and you're so worried about losing your shit. But that was the best way to get COD points. Oh, yeah, COD points. Back in this time period, COD points was not something you had to pay for with real cash. It was actually quite the opposite. It was an in-game currency that you essentially earned by playing matches. I think that's part of the reason why they won't do it, is because they don't want to confuse the players between COD points in the modern era, i.e., battle passes and whatnot. But I think what they should do, honestly, is just not even do COD points if they were to redo this. And I think that's why Treyarch won't do this. It's because it's not profitable in comparison towards something like the older Modern Warfare games where you do what you got to do. All right, since I got the Olympia already, neat. Um, yeah, dude. Like I said, we're gonna pack this. We're gonna legit play this gun. I'm gonna try and use it as long as I can. You guys can go ahead and leave a like. That would be much appreciated. Hey, thanks, man. Oh fuck! Never mind. Isaac Archila says, "Great stream, keep it up." And so I was responding to that right before I died. Part of the crappy thing about doing this is, I have to use a computer, and so at the same time, I have two monitors, and I peek at the other one just so I can read comments. Sorry, I don't know what's gotten into me. That was really dumb. Right there's the meteor. But yeah, no, I think that Treyarch won't ever consider, or Activision won't give Treyarch the green light to remake this game or remaster it. I mean, especially after that Cold War, I don't think I'd even want to see a remake, but a remaster would be nice because at least with the remaster, I'm guaranteed a product that I would enjoy. Um, but the thing is, do I think that they should release each DLC individually? The true answer to that question is yes. I mean, if that means that it's profitable and they can make money off of it, then that means that they'll do it. And if that's what it takes for them to actually do something like this, then by all means, Treyarch should definitely re-release the older DLCs. I also think it would be kind of neat and interesting if they imagine this. And I know it's Treyarch; it's hard to believe, but I mean they kind of sort of did this with Borderlands Handsome Collection, or not Handsome Collection, the Borderlands One remake. They added new weapons in the game. So could you just imagine if, and in fact, they were to release new weapons and zombies? Same weapons as before, just add new box weapons. Could you imagine if they also released a new zombies map for a default map? You know, I truly think that that would be pretty fucking sweet. We were supposed to have zombies in Paris, so could you imagine if we actually get that map? Like that would be, in my opinion, like a fantasy. Like that would just, I don't know, man. My heart would drop. It would sink. You know what I mean? Like I just couldn't imagine Activision not being greedy. Um, again, I went ahead and I rebought most of the DLCs except for Shangri La, which I will get that soon, but not right now because every penny counts right now because I'm a broke bitch. But I have to essentially live off of what I can at this time. So, but next pay period, if I make a lot, I might go ahead and greenlight myself to go ahead and get the World at War DLCs and actually just play World at War zombies. But to save money and time, I went ahead and just only got Moon and Ascension and Call of the Dead because those are the main maps packs that I liked because at least with Moon you also got the World at War DLCs. I also think it would be pretty cool just for just for the fact that Treyarch should, in my opinion, also do a remaster of Black Ops 2. But I hope they do Black Ops 1 first because Black Ops 2 is a great game, no doubt. No fucking doubt Black Ops 2 is a great zombies game, but I think it is overrated. It suffers from people's nostalgia, and as much as a hip is as hypocritical as it is for me to say that while I'm over here like praising Black Ops 1 because of my nostalgia. I mean, really, Black Ops 2 didn't really do that much great, in all honesty. The zombies maps themselves, most of them weren't really that great. I think Origins is extremely overrated. I don't think Origins is fun, per se. And it's not that it's a bad map design, it's just the idea of redoing the generators for Pack a Punch. It could be under attack, and you have to go all the way around the map to do it. And they put mud and all this other shit there. The staffs that was kind of neat, I guess. I mean, it didn't really rock my socks per se. I still think that the Blunder Gap was one of the cooler Wonder Weapons. The other thing, I suppose, another argument that could be made. Suppose that they do a Black Ops 2 remaster. Yeah, transit, dude. Modern transit. I think that truly they should take the advantage of the remaster and fix everything wrong with transit. Because if they think about it, guys, if it's a remaster, they could truly fix the issues of transit. The issue was with transit was the limitations of the PS3. So it'll forever be known as that map that just sucks because A, yeah, the lava, they didn't want you exploring in the background because, well, they'll realize that you probably won't like it. So they add fog, they add denizens, they add lava, they add a bunch of shit that makes you just not really want to explore. Because if you do explore, instead of being rewarded with something cool, like an Easter egg, or you might find some sort of hidden like joke or something. Instead of doing something like something fucking based like that, they fucking punish you by putting a bunch of procedures in place to prevent you from exploring, essentially, or to discourage you at least. For instance, some of the parts you have to collect for like the shield and whatnot, and the wonder weapon, like underneath that tunnel area, like that shouldn't have been like that. That should have been like a temporary stop on the bus. And that also brings me to my other point. The transit bus itself, they have to make it a little easier because in terms of zombies, that bus was a death trap. I mean, let's not fool ourselves here. It was a total death trap.
Let's play fix the grenade, demon spawn! Die, demon spawn!
Um, all right, boys. The most important thing you could possibly do with the Olympia if you're running double barrel, grab that speedy cola. It's so much better than Jug in this sense because the reloading is what's going to get you killed. So if you fix the reloading issue, well,
Why can I see so clearly now?
then you won't have to worry about getting Jug right away. I mean, get Jug anyway because it's powerful, but just saying. Anyway, at round 6, this gun still remains to be powerful. It just has lackluster ammo. And because of that, like the total ammo, it's oh shit, we're dead. We're so dead. We're so fucked, man. We're fucked. But no, seriously, my tip to getting that thing packed is get speed cola because again, if you're constantly having to reload, the last thing you want to do is take your time to reload that. Because I mean the reload animation is not too long. It's just putting two shells in the breach and then closing it. But then again, that could be those seconds could be very dependent because you're constantly going to be reloading. It's not like something that happens every once and again. After 30 or so rounds, it's literally after every 2 rounds. Um, guess we could play mm, Knocked. Again, if I had Shang, we'd have more map choices. But could you imagine if they did remaster this game? If they did, in fact, include a bonus map? Not like an actual map. Something kind of like this, where it's not story related, it's just a map to play on. And then have like some hidden like lore in the background. Like Kino had plenty of lore. They had all the radios that you could play, and with Doctor Maxis. I mean, it continued really what Derice started. Derice really expanded into the lore of zombies. Kino just continued that. If they have something else like that, that'd be fucking sweet. Hear more insight on Group 935 and more lore. Now, knowing the current direction of fucking zombies and all that shit, they're probably going to have some weird. If they were to do that, they'd probably add some weird bullshit with the apothecans and the fucking interdimensional demon alien creature bullshit. At that point, it's no longer about zombies per se. again, that's just my opinion. Like that whole shit, just that killed it for me, man. That's like some Avengers shit. Some time that once it became about time travel and all that shit, different universes. That's when they lost me. Time travel was okay in the sense of Black Ops One because that's what the teleporter did. It allowed for time travel, and it kind of gets explained in the comic, which kind of sort of explains the direction from Doris to Kino. They must have done something with the teleporter, and somehow, some way, it teleported them to 1945 or whatever, and Kino. Like it had, but again, once it became about like interdimensional, like demon alien creature things that eat planets and shit, I just it's not a zombie. That's a creature. And yeah, you could say that's where Element 115 comes from. And the ether was always a thing, actually. And that is true. The ether was always a thing, but, you know, the theme was always sort of there in the background. But it didn't have to be like that. It could have just been the fact of, hey, Element 115 comes from a different dimension. That's it. Somehow, some way, it exited its dimension into our space, entered our atmosphere, crash landed in Shino Numa, and in other places of the world as meteorites. Hey, that's fucking cool. Leave it simple like that. Why does it have to happen? Why does it happen? Why does it exist? Don't try to explain it. Like a lot of people don't get this. Some of the greatest horror monsters are monsters that aren't explained. It's the fear of the unknown, and it kind of sort of keeps people intrigued. Once you try to explain it and your explanation is fucking lame and weird and completely off topic, it's like lame in my opinion. And some people were getting all super hyped up and all that shit about it, and I'm just fucking bored as fuck. I'm just like, what the hell? Truly, what the hell? I mean, classic zombies is fucking creepy, dude. Like, look at this shit, man. Granted, the fog in the background here looks a hell of a lot better than World at War. Like the graphics, the rendering, and all that stuff, it looks a hell of a lot better than World at War. But it still looks mostly the same because guess what? They run off the same engine, just with slightly better graphics. I mean, could you imagine if they like tried to overdo it with graphics, you know, like Black Ops 3 graphics, dude? Like those graphics sucked, dude. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't really like Black Ops 3 graphics. Yeah, some details were there and all that stuff, but just the way the polish, the way it looked, just didn't look fucking cool. This looks cool in my opinion, despite it being kind of a bit blurry and whatnot. If they could render it better, then yeah, possibly. I mean, this is, but I don't know. That's just nostalgia talking. Even Black Ops 2 had kind of wonky graphics, in my opinion. Like they were good graphics, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, I don't think they hold up as well. Then again, I'm also the same guy that will argue Silent Hill 2's graphics were ahead of their time. Now, obviously, being a lot older, I've played a lot of video games in my time. A lot of old video games, mind you. I will say this. When you compare Resident Evil 4 to Silent Hill 2, there's just no comparison. Clearly, there's just no comparison. But when you compare other games released in the year that Silent Hill 2 came out, compare graphics, um, you guys I think would be pretty surprised with like really how ahead of the time the graphics were for Silent Hill 2. Like the darkness, the flashlight, the way the mannequins looked, the enemies and all that shit. That looked great, dude. Like that genuinely looked amazing. The final boss fight looked fucking freaky. Pyramid Head was interesting and they didn't really explore it too much. You only have like what 3 or 4 encounters with them until you do that boss fight bullshit. Then of course we have Silent Hill Homecoming, which honestly the graphics to that game weren't that bad considering the time they were released. pre Black Ops 1. Pre Black Ops 1. I mean, just listen to me, man. I'm an old timer. I'm a boomer, man. I'm gonna be one of them COD grandpas in the future, man. I'm gonna be the kind of guy talking about Call of Duty back in the day, and I'm gonna be referring to Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2. And there's gonna be kids like 8 years from now that the old Call of Duties to them are Black Ops 4 and Cold War. Those are gonna be the old Black Ops games. And I'm just gonna be like, no, Sonny, back in my day, we had to actually, we didn't have no gobble gums to, and blah blah blah. I don't know, man. To me, it's kind of a bit sad, really. Just like I love history, I love preserving history. I would love to preserve this game, but I know that one day in the distant future, PlayStation Network probably won't exist for PS3, and it's just a ticking time clock over what you can still get on PS in store on PS3 before the time clock runs out. And it's just such a like horrifying thought, in my opinion, because whatever. So I want to preserve as much content or make as much content on this while I still like can validly do that. And I've done some thinking and stuff. I got the ray gun, dude. What the fuck? I'm sorry, but that threw me off. Um, but we still have the M2 carbine, dude. Like, look at us, dude. We must be retarded. But no, you can actually, oddly enough, buy Manhunt 2 for PS3. And so, what I'm going to basically essentially do here is I'm going to get the Fallout DLCs for New Vegas and 3, essentially call it a day when it comes to that. Get the Borderlands DLCs, I suppose, maybe. No, not really. Don't really need to exactly. I mean, you don't really need them. I mean, Borderlands really. Like, if I want to play Borderlands, I could actually fucking do that on PS4, actually, and it being, like, enhanced and whatnot. But, I mean, I suppose there's just something to the classics that just. Some people just have to experience it like that. Damn dead? What the fuck? But, what do you call it? I suppose one of the big things I would probably do is if I could get. Tell you what, you guys just want to. I'm gonna play Modern Warfare 3. I don't know about you guys. I want to play Modern Warfare 3 Survival for the channel and just talk about Modern Warfare 3. But I also want to play Spec Ops: The Line for the channel. The other thing I also want to capture for the channel is Skate and Skate 2 and Skate 3 content. Skate, in my opinion, was one of the coolest like skateboarding games. I mean, on the PS2, playing the older Tony Hawk games, and that was an experience on the PS2. But I was a wee lad back then, and to me, my interests quickly jumped to Black Ops. Like literally, this was my game growing up. Literally every single day when I got home from school, this was the Call of Duty I was mainly playing. Just look at the numbers and the little shit is it's fucking freaky, dude. Like the CIA, like me realizing like something like this can't be real. At first, dude, I thought this was a horror game, not gonna lie to you guys. Just by like the look of everything, like dude, this looks like some shit out of fucking Silent Hill Homecoming. That beginning sequence. Like this is some fucking Jacob's Ladder shit, dude. Fucking, you know, really weird and trippy and shit. But then I got really interested in it. But this game got me really interested in like the 1960s, like the older style TVs, the radio communications equipment, like all that shit down there, basically. It got me really interested in some of the technology our government was using back in the day and whatnot. It got me really into history. And so, and number stations and ham radios and freak, all that shit. Like this got me really into the Cold War, and it's surprising, but you're not really in Vietnam a whole lot in this game, really. But there are a couple missions where you're through Vietnam and Cambodia. I gotta say though, I wish there was like 2 or 3 more missions in Vietnam. Like honestly, I wish there was like a cool like you know mission at night fighting Charlie in the trees. But there were a few couple good missions. There were some great missions. The Fukuda mission is just classic, man. But I gotta say, man, like when it comes to Black Ops Zombies, I don't think anything's really gonna compare. Like, look, man, you got the map 5. You could literally play as JFK. You could play as fucking Fidel Castro. You could play as McNamara. You can play as um, Richard Nixon. So, and learning who all these guys were.
We almost blew ourselves up. Now we invited you here today in good faith. Sort this thing out. And why is he here? He lost. As I always say, give your enemies, but remember their names.
Like you literally meet the president in this game, dude.
Can we go find the power switch?
Oh man. Oh dude. Me and my cousin, man, back in the day, we were so intrigued that the government, like, we literally actually looked at this, thought about it for a minute. We're like, wow, the government knows what time it is in New York, what time it is in Hong Kong, what time it is in Hanoi, and what time it is in Moscow. And we were like so intrigued by this map. We're like, you know what, man? Imagine what if they made a movie like White House Town, only instead of it being terrorists, it was zombies in the White House. Could you really imagine how the government, like, there's not really like there's a lot of zombie movies. Don't get me wrong, especially like in the early 2000s. A lot of, well, what happens when zombies in this? A lot of it was less about like what kind of zombies you were dealing with, more or less how you were dealing with them and in what circumstances. For instance, the amazing George Romero classic Dawn of the Dead. Uh, they were fighting zombies in a mall, okay, and then they did a remake in the early 2000s, and I don't think it was as great as the original. Oh yeah, and seeing all these like government files and shit like that, we're just like, whoa, all these filing cabinets and shit. We're like, those are probably filled up with all kinds of weird information that we probably don't even know. And this map sort of got me interested in the government and conspiracy theories, for that matter. Oh yeah, the Illuminati. It's also in Ascension as well. Those logos, just kind of strange. But when you think about it, the main Black Ops characters are World War II soldiers and a Nazi scientist. Uh, and Black Ops 1 takes place during the Cold War in like the 1960s, like the late 60s, early to mid 70s, I'm assuming. And then obviously Cold War takes place in like the 80s and whatnot. But all of this here, all of this, to me, like World War II, and then we're using guns that were used during the Cold War in Vietnam. To me, it intrigued me quite a bit. It's going from World at War to this, and even then, back then, I didn't know World at War had zombies until a little while after I started getting really into zombies. But Oh yeah, and the elevator. Oh, I think there's an elevator. There are two elevators. This room has like this room must win room with the most perks of the year award like forever. You have double tap root beer. You have sweet old juggernog. And then somewhere around here there's meal kick. If I remember correctly. Yep, meal kick right there. That's three perks. And that's it. One room, three perks. Also, this room is an actual death trap. Look at the catwalks. And I'm not really trying to survive here. I'm just playing shit and giggling. Zombie behind me. No, just panicked. That's all. Mm. Uh, see ya later. Grabbing that MP5K. You think I'm gonna grab the PM63? I mean, like, come on, guys. Like, let's just be honest here. Let's just be honest here for a minute. 30 rounds over 20 rounds. It's a 10 round difference.
Scratch my back, so I won't scratch yours. Disgusting.
These metal barrier things get reused in the map Ascension. That was actually the first DLC map ever. Just think about that for a minute. Let that sink into your guys' skulls, into your guys' craniums. That was the first ever DLC for Black Ops Zombies. However, the first ever Zombies DLC was first DLC map was Verrect. Arguably, in my opinion, the so fucked. But the first map was Verrect, which is arguably the most important zombies map to have ever been made because it gave us perks and power, and a mystery box that can move. It also gave us traps. Need I say more? Oh, and not to mention the bouncing Betties, which would become staple because you would need equipment to survive high rounds because the equipment just packed a much higher explosive. How do you call it? Much better explosive bullshit. Much better. It packs a bigger punch than, say, your standard grenades. However, I will say this: Derice gave us the monkey bomb, which combined with the bouncing Betties are arguably the most important thing to survive, as well as the Bowie knife. If the Bowie knife was ever introduced in Verrect, I personally think it would make sense to put it in the kitchen. Just my opinion. And in Numa, I think the better area to place it in is either the doctor's quarters or the fishing hut. Also, just my opinion. The fishing hut, at least it's a decent area, but the doctor's quarters also is kind of a death trap area, and also has that cool thing you can actually use the zip line, more like a gondola kind of sort of thing, and you like in uh, Mob of the Dead, the gondola. It's just like that, except in Shinonuma, it's far more lame. Shinonuma could have been bigger in my. Imagine what would happen if they expanded Shinonuma about the same size as. Imagine if Shinonuma was the same size in map as, say, Call of the Dead. It's still the same base default map area, but it just you can go outside into the woods to like the swampy area, and imagine there being like a large like houseboat thing crashed. Having it, like, dude, that'd be fucking sweet. Just imagine there's like a secret Japanese imperial bunker and some sort of underground laboratory and some other shit where they're experimenting with the meteorite. And imagine there's a purchasable wonder weapon for 8,500 points. That'd be fucking sweet. And also, there's like or the bunker could have like pack a punch. That would be fucking. I don't know. I fantasize too much. Anyway, guys, I'm going to go ahead and hop on Modern Warfare and actually play some survival and talk Modern Warfare and Call of Duty. So I'll see you guys there. It's happening directly after the stream. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out. And everyone have a great day.